The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Quirky Dog Podcast, inspired by some of the quirkiest dogs you can ever imagine, and the owners who love them. This podcast is brought to you by the quirky couple themselves, Scott and Jess Williams. Their aim is to educate and entertain. Here's Scott
It's like you're on
Jess.
Facebook.
I know, it's nice.
Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the Quirky Dog. We have a very special guest. Jess likes to say that every week. We have a very special guest this
This
week.
one really
Now
is
I get
extra
to say it,
special for us.
But this is a woman that is near and dear to our hearts
Oh.
because we couldn't go on vacation unless Katie came and helped us with our crazy dogs.
That is really true. That is true. We have Katie Kozikowski, who was a former MSPCA. You were an employee there or a volunteer?
Yeah, employee.
Employee, and then now she's an animal control officer. But first, we have to do the quirky tip of the day. Sometimes Scott, with the introing and the organization of the show,
Now,
it
are
gets
we going to have
crazy.
Katie give us the tip, or would you like me to give the tip? I think it'd be nice.
All right,
We
what-
could hear about...
As the animal control officer, what would your quirky tip be for people watching and listening?
So my quirky tip, people probably aren't going to like it as much, but my biggest tip that I can give is to please keep your dogs on a leash where they're supposed to. Please.
Follow your leash laws.
I like that. And can the leash be 20 feet? I mean, because I see people, the dog's on leash, it's like 30, 40 feet long.
6-foot leash.
6-foot leash.
That's-
Or at least have very good recall for your dog.
Yeah.
And that,
She's just saying that because I don't leash
and
my dogs.
interestingly enough,
She knows it doesn't want to be offensive on the show.
we're not big fans of the retractable leash, but those things are like 10 or 12 feet long.
Yeah,
so
not 6.
technically they're illegal if you're letting them out.
Yeah, if you have a retractable, that should get locked
And
at 6.
we had a client whose dog bit a child on a retractable, and it wasn't locked. So the lady was walking down the street, the dog was beside her. These 12-year-olds came running by, and the dog just shot out 12 feet and bit the kid in
If
the
you
back.
still have flexies, which you shouldn't if you watch our show, but if you still have them, lock them at 6
Lock
feet.
them at 6 feet, guys.
And Katie's got her quirky dog shirt on. I'm so proud of her.
I know. God, she's committed.
I know.
She's
I am committed. I bought it right
know.
away.
I know.
We
I
did
didn't
pay
even.
her,
I did.
but-
No, I didn't. That's why I was excited. She showed up. I'm glad I'm not wearing mine. I got my Wake Shine Wine shirt on, so I'm ready for the wine
Well, I
part
got
of the day.
Yosemite National Park, if anyone's wondering.
All right, so now that we did our attire, Katie, as an animal control officer, give us some things here, because really animal control, as I see from your Facebook photos, is a lot more than dogs. Like you're dealing with a lot of stuff. So what kind of other species and wildlife and everything do you come across and have to mess with, and what kind of stuff pops up?
I deal with everything. So there's like a big, not stigma, but people just know animal control as like a dog officer. And that's still what usually a lot of the older people will call me. Oh, you're the dog officer, right? You're supposed to come out. Or
Dog catcher.
You write the tickets.
So yeah, I'm like the really scary person in all the Disney movies.
With the,
So-
the net.
Yeah, chase them with my giant square van, which I do kind of have a square van, unfortunately. But no, I deal with anything and everything that comes in. So you got a bird problem, you have a raccoon problem. I can't remove stuff because I'm not licensed to do that, so I can't take it off of your property. But if you have an issue, I can tell you how to get rid of them. I can help you if they're injured or anything
So
like that.
you can show
too.
up and say, yeah, you got a problem. I gotta go. I gotta go to the next house.
Confirmed.
Good luck.
Dog catcher confirms it. So is that like a common thing, like injured wings and that kind of
Bobcats.
situation?
Yeah, I haven't had any of those yet, knock on wood, but that would be really cool to have that. I think there is a bobcat in my town somewhere right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of stuff, especially like in the springtime when animals start having babies, people will think that animals are abandoned. So we'll go out, try and figure out if they're actually abandoned. If they are, we'll take them to a rehabber. If they get injured, like babies get injured falling out of trees or other
Yeah.
things like that too,
I
then I'll
would
help
say,
with that
I
kind
know
of
a
stuff.
woman that a turtle was crossing the road. She stopped, picked the turtle up, brought it to the vet, and said that this turtle was crossing the road. They said, go put it back where you found it, lady. What the hell are you doing? You're interrupting the turtle's path.
Now he's got to walk all the way back there again. That's the thing with turtles, too. A lot of people will pick them up. Like, if they're crossing the road, they're going to pick them up and put them somewhere safe. And what they don't know is, like, that's probably a turtle looking for a hatching spot or
Yeah.
to lay her eggs. And now she's going to go all the way back to where you picked her up from because she still has a spot she wants to get to. So you just really made it that much harder for her
So
to get there.
leave the wildlife alone, folks. Don't be.
But don't run them over.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. Be
don't do that
thoughtful.
either.
Oh my gosh, I get so upset
People
when I
are very
see.
respectful of turtles, though. Several times there's been like the car is stopped in the middle of the road, and the people are like, hey, slow down. And they're waiting for this turtle to cross the road.
They're pretty good about turkeys. New England seems pretty good about everything. When I lived in Colorado, I had the little deer whistles because I didn't want to ever run over the deer. That's not really a thing out here. But there were these little things on the top of the hood of my car, and apparently they like. Oh, shut
deer
up!
whistles.
I cannot stand him.
That's what it
Apparently
sounds like.
Okay, I'm telling you.
This lady needs deer whistles.
They emitted a noise that kept the deer away. It's not as big of an issue here, but in Colorado, it's a thing. I'm putting a
that's
link, a
still a
live
problem.
link. Yeah, well, maybe more deer are killed here because of the whistles.
So that's really the quirky tip of the day. Is the deer
the
whistles.
leash law. All right, let's talk about horses. I'm going to get a horse. We didn't even tell you.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, pet sit for you then. That's
Last
fine.
week, we saw,
Now
we saw
she's
a
going to
lady-
come to Maine to pet sit for us.
We had a lady walking her kid in a stroller and a pony behind her on a leash.
Yeah, that's Maine living.
My last town, I had the town hall call me, and they were like, there's a lady walking a horse down Main Street. Is that okay? And I was like, was it on a leash? And she goes, yeah.
Was it 6 feet?
Was it 6 feet?
No, but really, I'm excited about this. It's not happening anytime soon, so you and Tom don't have to
Well,
come up yet.
Her
But
birthday's next month. I didn't say anything.
oh my God,
Cut that.
We need to pay
Chrissy.
taxes before we buy a freaking
on it.
horse. All right, so let's talk about horses and livestock, though. Like, is that a thing? Like, do they get loose and you have to deal with that kind of thing too?
They do. I've dealt with a couple cows that have gotten loose before. I think that's mainly the biggest thing. Horses. We do have horses in the towns that I've worked in before, but I've never had, knock on wood again, never had an issue where
have to
horses
actually
have
put
gotten
wood here
out.
if she's gonna
But
keep knocking.
I
I was
know.
gonna say that's plastic, so you're in trouble.
It's got to be wood somewhere
Oh,
in here.
you got bobcats and everything coming.
But the biggest thing were cows that we've had out. And like sometime I've gone out with a police officer before and you're not really prepared if a cow is coming at you very quickly. I was like, put your arms up. And he was just like hand on his side. I was like, no,
don't do that.
Don't
Was he
worry,
gonna
he's
tase
not
him?
going to hurt you. Yeah. Stop, no. But that was the biggest thing. And we just have to call the owner. And most of the time, like, with most livestock that get out, if you have apples or grain or something like that, like I've got a friend who's an animal control officer and he had a huge pig get out. So he went and bought a bunch of apples and then just carried a bucket in front of him and walked him home. So
That's easy.
they're usually pretty food motivated.
That's a good way
That's
to
a
go.
committed animal control officer.
All right, let's talk about crazy stories. So you've been an animal control officer in more than one town at this point.
Yep.
So what has happened that's like kind of like out of the realm of like, well, this wasn't my day-to-day situation?
We've had a couple of weird things. Do you want to hear a wildlife one first or a domestic animal one first?
Let's
I
do
want to hear the
wildlife.
most entertaining one. That's what
Okay,
I'm just kidding.
let's see.
And it better be good, darn it.
Well, this was like the scariest call I've ever gone on. I've never actually had, again, knock on wood somewhere. Here we
Yeah,
go.
there we go. You knock on cup.
I've never had like a really scary dog call before, but I've had a very scary cat call before. And just from like working in animal shelters and volunteering in them, I know what a cat bite feels like, and I know it hurts very, very
they
bad.
get infected pretty easy, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not had that happen yet, but this cat call, I thought I was destined to get attacked. So I had gotten a call from somebody who took in a cat who was pregnant. She just had kittens. I think the kittens were only like a couple days old. She called one of her friends over to come see the kittens. Cat was sweet as pie, and then all of a sudden just turned on the lady and latched onto her face.
The visitor or the
The
person?
visitor.
Okay, well, shouldn't have been there.
Yeah. So she's protecting her babies is what she was doing.
Wow.
But she latched onto her face, and I knew the visitor. She had actually texted me a photo of her face, and it had completely
Blown up?
it was huge. She had to go to the hospital. She had to get antibiotics and
And that
all
was just
stuff.
from the claws?
Yeah. And
Well,
she
it's-
wouldn't
they're
let
really-
go.
Yeah, I know. They
I've
have
heard
a lot
the
of
cats
stuff on
really
it. Yeah.
can,
They're dirty
especially
and-
biting.
Yes.
They get stuff in their
So you-
saliva that can really mess you
Well,
up.
it's because their teeth are so small and sharp and pointy, they can just get germs in there really
And keep
well
them in
too.
there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's not an open wound. It's just
Yeah.
a puncture with
A
germs in there.
Tiny little hole,
Right,
and it
right.
just shoves the germs.
So
So what
sounds like fun.
happened?
So they couldn't touch the cat after that, and they called me because they couldn't even get in the house.
Say, bring a face mask.
I had to bring a whole body
Bring a
mask.
hockey thing.
So I got to the front door, and she's like, I can't even get in. I opened the front door, and the cat launched itself at the front door and was just screaming. So I couldn't
That's a good
do
mom.
anything.
That's a
She was
that's a breeder.
very good about protecting her kittens.
Yeah, that is crazy. I've never heard that behavior.
No, I didn't either until
Oh,
I
I
went
did
to
know
this.
one buddy who used to get his cat high, and then his cat would attack people. But he thought that was funny. Not to get you off on another
This was
tangent.
just maternal instinct. This is a little
Yeah.
different. So what did you do? The cat's at the door. Did you just leave?
So front door, back door. I had somebody sit at
get
the
apples?
front. Apples didn't work here, unfortunately. Could have tried it though.
Yeah.
Toss one her way.
Small apples, little crab apples.
Did you get out?
I walked her home afterwards.
All right, one at the front door, one at the back door.
So there's like a bay window or something in the front. So I made one of them sit up front and just keep tapping the window because every time you did, it would spring up and smack the window and scream at you. So I made her sit up there, and then me and a police officer went in the back door in full riot gear, and I had to go in with a net. And
There is a purpose for all that gear.
There is. It was sitting in a closet for a long time, but we did use it. So I slowly creeped up. Oh, yeah, I sure did. And I was keeping it above my head so it didn't launch up right in my face. And I walked in with a net, and the police officer behind me had a shield too and was just watching in case it attacked me. And I slowly
He lets the
reached
woman
out
go
and got
ahead.
him.
Get in there, Katie. I got your back.
Hey,
dog catches
I
here.
wanted to go first. I was good.
Yeah, the ACO is
But
here.
I had to catch her in a net and then just keep her shut, and we had to get her kittens out and her out of the house so she didn't attack
Did
anything
she
else.
go back into the house and was fine after that?
No, it was
She
a
must have been
stray cat,
pissed.
so it wasn't even the lady's cat. So we ended up sending her and her
Turned out it was
kittens
really a
away.
bobcat. Nobody knew.
They were very tiny.
What happened with the face?
She ended up healing just fine. So she had to be on antibiotics, and I don't know how long it took for everything to go down, but she was okay afterwards. I don't think
God.
she
The only
liked
time I
cats too
needed
much after that.
antibiotics, I've been bit by dogs, a few times, just a handful of times. But the one time that I needed antibiotics was the least invasive bite. It was the same similar thing. The dog bit my hand, but only just put a little puncture.
Yeah.
Didn't even really bleed at all. But then the next day, my hand was just getting up like a balloon.
Yeah,
And
if
to
it
get
gets the right nastiness in
Yeah.
there, then it's really going to screw
The dog
you up.
had the nastiness within him. And he just
Giving it to
transmuted.
Transferred right over. All right, I want a wildlife crazy story now because I assume the cat story isn't crazy.
That sounded pretty tame.
That's not wildlife.
So this one, I'm trying to think of the craziest wildlife thing. I have so many things that I can't even remember all of them anymore. But the one that sticks out the most is this was my first week in a new town that I worked in my last town. And I got a call. Somebody called 911 screaming because there was a turkey in their house. So I showed up, and the woman
pretty
is
big, too.
Oh, they're huge.
How did it get
especially
in the
when you get
house?
close. So
Did you put on a pilgrim outfit or?
I'm here to take you away.
With apples.
Yes.
No shields for that one.
Get the stuffing all made?
So the lady's out front panicking and also dying laughing at the same time. And I was like, what happened? And she goes, the turkey's in the house. And I went inside, and you can just see
Turkey poop everywhere.
yeah, turkey poop, turkey feathers, and glass all over the place. And it is leading from one side of her house all the way to the other. So I looked to see how it gets in. I'm assuming it was either coming down from a roost in a tree or trying to get up and saw its reflection. And it was a male turkey, so I think it
was
saw
mating.
another turkey. Or that, mating with, yes.
Mating with glass.
And it did not go well because he went straight through it, smashed
Oh my
her window.
gosh.
The poor lady goes, what? Oh, there's some type of insurance company. Oh,
Can you imagine
farmers.
If it
She's
landed in the kitchen, it would be perfect.
No, do not
right
say
up the
that.
stove.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't like that talk. I only
Go
eat
ahead.
fish.
Go
Now
ahead.
stop
I wouldn't
it.
eat it with the feathers all over it anyway.
Oh my God, don't listen. All right, so what about farmers? How does this tie in?
The lady goes, I called my daughter to tell her what was going on, and I was crying and screaming on the phone, and she just goes, oh my God, Mom, you're going to be a farmer's insurance commercial after this.
You're kidding.
Legitimately. So was the turkey okay smashing through the
Turkey was
glass or
fine.
breathing through the
I
glass?
wish I
or
sent you
whatever
a
it did?
picture because I was following the trail of poop and feathers, and I poked my head around the corner, and he was just perched up on her couch. And I was like,
It's my home now.
yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do here, but let's see what happens. So I walked in, and I had a big, thick prisoner blanket from the police department, and I was talking to him, and I was
They
like,
really provide thick blankets for the prisoners?
they're
That's
not
nice.
comfortable,
That's
but they
very
are
nice.
thick, just in case they get cold. But my
Things have changed over
Yeah.
the years, honey.
I just said
like, they
stainless steel. That's it. Get comfortable, buddy.
They didn't have any blankets back in the day.
they've upgraded a bit.
They asked if I wanted one. Didn't bring it. Go ahead.
But I should start this with my biggest fear out of all animals is
Turkeys.
Birds, and turkey is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Um,
That's kind of a
So
weird
are you
focus.
shaking with the
oh, no,
blanket
they
now?
just
or?
fly. I can't fly.
They can get caught in your hair, too.
That too, and they can pick
Don't
your
get
eyes
her
out at
going.
any given
She's gonna-
time. They
Oh my
can.
You ever go
God.
to a bird sanctuary and they start dive bombing you?
So I can go to those, but you just hold the food like this, so they come to the food
Yeah.
instead of you.
Yeah.
So what happened with the prisoner blanket? Were you shaking
So-
in your boots with the blanket, or what happened?
I'm
there?
like,
I hope it wasn't too heavy. It didn't hurt him, I hope.
No, he was okay. He appreciated the blanket too. It was very comfortable.
So you wrapped him up and got him out of there?
Yeah, I slowly walked up to him, and the whole time I just kept going, please don't peck me, please don't peck me, please don't peck me. And I ran up to him, threw the blanket around him, and then I ran out of the house. And as soon as we got out, he must have known it because he just put his wings out and took off as quickly as he
Wow.
could.
He makes Cousteau look pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, birds.
I don't know. I might still go with the turkey. I like Cousteau and all, but
He does well with you.
He hasn't gone through a window yet.
He's too afraid
I
of
keep him on a leash.
thank you.
No, I don't like the bird thing either. They do freak me out. And I just got a video the other day. We had a friend on who runs a daycare in New York a few weeks ago. Her daughter was like, oh, look, there's like some geese. And she took a video of it. And then the geese turned and started like running after her. And then she's screaming in the video. Like, they're hardcore.
You guys would not survive where I'm from. We have a bird called a magpie, which is take the cat story and now put that on this bird. They breed, they're everywhere. So if you go near their tree, they're going to swoop and they will attack. Bicyclists wear all kinds of things on their heads. Yeah, spikes on the helmets to protect them.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah, don't come to Australia if you don't like
Australia.
birds.
Oh, I wanted to go there for what are those little
Koalas?
No, not those. It begins with a Q. There's like something in Australia. They're super cute and people take selfie with them.
QAnon?
A quokka.
That. I want to go there for that.
That's a bird.
Quokka.
No?
No,
Oh, no, the quokka. Sorry. No, I'm thinking of something else.
They're like-
yes, the
well,
quokka looks like a
little
tiny
groundhog
little,
things.
Probably looks
Let me
prehistoric
find
if
one of
it's
those
from Australia.
headdresses and we
Yeah.
can give
Yeah,
it
looks
to her
like
for
a
the
little
trip.
groundhog
I'll
that like
protect you, Jess.
smiles when you go do selfies
I'm
with
not
it.
going
So
for the
cute.
quokkas or whatever, but we'll give you a headdress for the birds when you go to keep you safe.
I wanted
you.
to say I had a pet peeve that I wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
It's people driving with their dogs hanging half out the car. It friggin'
Nope. You know what's worse? When they're on their lap.
Yeah, but
Drives me insane.
there's so many videos on YouTube of dogs falling out of cars. The people behind them are driving with it, and they go around a rotary. The dog plops out, and even if they're tied up, then they're hanging on the outside of the car.
Is
getting
that a
pulled
ticketable
along.
offense?
Not
It
really.
should be.
I
Should
mean,
be. Keep your friggin' dog in the car.
yeah.
It's endangering the animal.
If they are doing something unsafe, like letting them hang out the sunroof or something like that, then yeah. But like in Massachusetts, people will still drive with their dogs in the back of their trucks and stuff too. But in Massachusetts, you have to have them tethered on both sides so
Right.
they can't fall out.
I've seen that. It's not a bad setup.
But no, it's not. I mean, I probably. If
I wouldn't do it with my dog because, God forbid, you rolled over in the vehicle.
Or like if something
I
was flying through the air. I don't know. I don't.
Well,
like
could
all
you
the-
imagine if Winnie was tied back there?
Oh, Winnie's very
have a heart
delicate.
and I wouldn't want my dog to get attacked by birds if I was at a traffic light or something.
The window thing is okay with me if the window is like mostly up and it's just the nose. Like, oh, that's fine if the dog's
Yeah.
doing that. But so many people, like just even coming here, like the window is all the way down. The like pit bull's paws were like on the thing, and he was going 40. If you had to
Tongue's
slam on
hanging
the
out.
brakes, it's like, oh my
Why'd
gosh.
you say pit bull?
Because that was what it was that we saw on the way here. I was just
She's got
talking.
a little bit of a pit
She's
bull.
not
I
a
was
dog racist.
I was just talking facts. No, not at all. Okay, so what about the hardest rules to enforce? I know the leash law is a pain in the butt, but what other rules do people have to follow
Barking.
that they don't want to
Barking.
follow? Let her answer, or I would have interviewed you.
That would have been my guess.
So no, not really. Actually,
what is it?
So
He's
leash
always
law-
wrong when he guesses. That's my favorite, is when he's like, I'll tell you what
That's
it is.
why I don't gamble.
Smart move.
Go ahead.
It's the leash law and like poop. People not picking up their poop.
That is, yeah.
Especially because every town that I've worked in, there's been a drinking water supply too, and there's always a walking path right around it, and then people's dog poop just
Yeah.
goes right in there.
It's
And like,
interesting.
granted, they have really good systems to clean that stuff out before you
cares?
drink
A little
out of
poop,
it.
big
but
deal.
well, it's all good and whatever until you get like hookworm in your eye and you go blind or something like that
kinda
too.
nasty.
Yeah.
That's why everyone drinks bottled water.
There you
So
go.
basically, before I came into your life, you always didn't follow either of the hardest
I
rules to enforce.
I still don't pick up the poop. Jess
Oh my
steps
God.
in it, and then she's mad at me.
I dislocated my knee before Christmas, and he had one pet dog to do one. And I went out in the snow. I'm like, what's going on out here? And he's like, oh, where are the bags? Like, I didn't know. I thought that
This
we'd
is-
gotten better about
Actually,
this.
it's on our property. We're not leaving poop all over the neighborhood. Just
Doesn't
to be-
matter
just
to
be
me.
clear.
It's just as bad. I don't like it. So yeah, bring your poop bags. That would have been a good quirky tip too. We haven't
Yeah.
had that for the quirky
too.
tip. Do people get like ticked off when you're like, put your dog on a leash, pick up your poop? Like, are they ornery?
I get yelled at quite a lot actually.
I can't believe
because,
that.
Oh, I do.
With your temperament, that
I-
people would yell at you?
That makes it worse because I'm quiet and I try and listen to them. And after I let them go for like 5 minutes, I'm like, well, you passed 3 signs. I'm going to write you a ticket anyways. They usually get more mad. So all I got to do is just let them have it out. Whatever. I'm sorry that you chose not to have your dog on a leash and your dog jumped up on somebody. I'm not like going to go out there if it's not a problem and ticket every single person that goes by or anything like that. But
You don't
when
get a
they're-
commission on the tickets.
No, I wish.
Well, that's
I'd give out
the
a whole lot
speeding
more if I
tickets
have
are
a
like-
case.
You got a quota you got to meet.
Yeah. But no, I don't have anything like that. But if it's a problem and there's a problem area,
course.
I got to do it. And I can't
Yeah.
write one person a ticket, not another person, because then it's not fair to do that.
Well, if it's a small
So-
dog, though, it's a small poop. It should be half the fine.
Good point. You should argue that. You could bring that to town meeting.
What are the what we go to town meetings? We're at more of them than you know. What are like fines, really, because I don't know. I
Is it
guess
like
it's because we
$50
live
or
in Maine.
something,
But
or-
what are the
So-
fines for like leash laws and poop and these
The
other things?
state has a specific amount that you have to at least do, and each town can be more than that. So a town or city can be more strict than the state laws, but they can't be less strict. So in 2016, when they updated the laws about dogs in hot cars and other stuff like that, and
Right.
tethering, they also updated the fines. So like some towns used to be able to be like a $5 fine, and the state was just like, no, that's ridiculous. So now minimum is like 50.
Costs more than that to buy the leash.
Yeah, exactly. It's 50, 75, 100, 300, 500 or something like that.
Wow.
And once you get fined, this is all in 1 year. So if you get up to like the 300 or 500 level, the town can order you to have your dog spayed or neutered.
Crazy. So
Well,
that's the
but
leash.
most of them are spayed or neutered already anyway.
Most of them are.
That's the
for
leash
most
law
part.
fines, right? What about the poop fines? That's
Same
the
thing.
So that's kind of
Wow.
an empty.
Yeah.
You're
threat
lucky
there
when
on
you
the end.
moved to Maine and you don't live in Mass anymore with these hardcore poop laws. All right. Well, I want to talk about the dogs in the car because it wasn't on the list, but
You know,
now we
something
talked
I
about
didn't think
this.
I just when you said that, I thought about that too.
Yeah, this is a hot topic, and we should
someone-
address
if
it.
a
And
dog
we're
is in
going
distress,
into
do they
like
call
hot
you or just
season.
any cop would show up?
So in Massachusetts, if a dog is in distress and like a civilian is out there and they see the
They're
dog,
allowed to break the window.
Yep, they just have to call 911 first.
Right.
So as long as you call 911, tell them that you're breaking the window, let them know where you are.
Take the purse and then you leave.
Yep.
But the dog is supposedly should be in distress.
It needs to be in distress. Yeah, it can't just be, I think it's hot out and the dog kind of looks like there might be something wrong with him. The dog has to be in distress. If he's not in distress, you got to call 911. And in most towns, it depends on how well they work with animal control. But like in most towns, they'll send a cop, they'll blue light it there
Whoever's
and check
close,
it out. Yeah.
With my dog, certainly when I'm in Cambridge and in the city, he always travels loose with me, but I have a crate in the back. So
Yeah.
if I'm going to leave him in the vehicle, he's going to be in the crate in the back, and the windows.
we
are
have
gonna
a
be cracked.
Ryobi and a sensor
and if it's
push
going to
and
be a
everything,
warm,
we're
if it's
not-
going to be a warm day, I won't even bring him with me.
Yeah.
But I don't leave him loose because God forbid someone sees, oh my God, there's a dog in the car. Let's smash the
Well,
windows.
that's the thing,
Because
too.
some people are just animal rights people and they don't want to see it anyway. They don't care, you know.
So
Well-
what's the temperature thing? Go ahead and say what you were going to say, but I want to know what the law is.
So there's, I don't know if you saw it or not, but like in Utah a couple years ago, there was a family that brought their dog out to dinner with them.
On the roof?
No, this
What was his name?
Mitt Romney.
Yeah, go ahead.
He loves
Oh, yeah.
talking about Mitt and the
Well,
crate.
he was in Utah, but
That
go
is
ahead.
his favorite story to talk about. I feel like we talk about it every month.
I'm pretty sure this one was in Utah, but they were allowed to bring their dog with them to dinner. It was a dog-friendly place, and they were eating outside, but they left their dog in the crate in the back with the air conditioner on, but they were parked in the sun, and the sun was beating down on the dog the whole time, and it killed the dog.
Yeah, that's not
So-
surprising because we have these, what is it called?
Sensor
The
push.
sensor push.
Oh, in your car you do?
Yeah.
Wow, that's-
Because they're
mobile.
Bluetooth,
It's just
they're
a little thing you
Bluetooth.
can, but I put it in the crate in the back of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Air conditioning, pumping, full. It was friggin' 90 in the crate.
Yeah.
You know, so that air doesn't get, unless you hose it back there for them and get those Ryobi
Yeah,
fans.
that helps funnel it more.
Because it's a battery.
But what is
fan.
the temperature in Mass? What is the law for that?
So so it's very vague. So you can use it to the best of your ability. And obviously you have to do it within reason too. So we have these, we don't have them, they're not given to us by the state, but you can choose to be certified to take the temperature, to regulate whatever the temperature in the cars. So we have these little thermometers that will point in.
Are they like
and-
the COVID thermometers?
Actually, yeah, they look just like that.
Like a laser.
That stock went way up this
Yeah.
year.
So what I'll usually do is if we get a call for it, if the dog looks okay, I'll point my little thing in there, my infrared thermometer. It'll tell me how hot it is. And if it's 80 or 90 in there, it takes the temperature of the thing that you're touching. So it's not like the ambient temperature
You
that's
put it right
in
on
there.
the black dashboard.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
So if the dog's sitting there panting a little bit, but say it's 70 degrees outside and cloudy, then I'll probably sit there and wait for the owner. Or I'll have dispatch, I'll call them the license plate, have dispatch give me a phone number, and I'll call them and be like, hey, I'm here. If I'm at a grocery store, that's my favorite way to do it because I'll go inside.
Go inside and just say over the thing.
Oh, yeah, I'll have them announce it over the intercom. And if they've been out there for a long time.
Embarrassed. Maybe they'll be shamed into not doing it again.
That's what I hope for. It sucks to happen, but
Right.
don't make a dumb decision to keep your
No.
dog in a car like that. And
No, they can go quick. And
Yes,
if
very
people don't
quickly.
realize how quickly the cars heat up, they think, oh, it's 78, it'll be fine. But no, within 10 minutes, there's charts that it goes exponentially hotter than one would think.
Oh,
So
you should drive around Andover and North Andover. I have Winnie on a sign, an A-frame sign that I put in front of all the grocery stores and stuff. And it says, if you love us, leave us home.
that's Katie's dog. She's so cute.
Up in Maine, they have that, but it's a picture of everyone's wife on the.
Oh, shut up. No, really, though, I'm telling you, in Maine, dog rearing, I don't know, so far, knock on
They're pretty good
wood
up
or
there.
whatever. Yeah, the dogs, I I don't know. They like listen better, like the York Beach dogs. Like it's not as chaotic as Mass.
We've had good experiences so far.
My friend is in charge of the animal law enforcement in Maine, so he must be doing a very good job.
And I mean, us Maynards, we really care about our dogs. Let's talk about beaches. This wasn't on the list either, but I'm having fun. So what about beaches? Do you go to the beach and enforce all that stuff?
I don't have.
Oh, you don't
beaches.
have to.
No
Yeah, she
beach
doesn't
there.
have a beach.
So-
Okay, I know.
But in those too, you have to remember, like, I was actually just talking to one of my friends the other day who she goes to, like, she's got a beach in her town, and she's had people leave the dog in the car and go to the beach for the day.
Yeah,
like, I
stupid.
don't understand what you're thinking.
People are crazy.
But they
People
just,
are absolutely crazy.
well, their intentions are they don't want to leave their dog at home. And they don't want to make them be bored at home, but also, like, your dog doesn't want to sit in the car while they're at the beach.
Probably the dog is
or
very
run
destructive at
errands.
home.
Could
and
be
they,
that
and
too.
they can't crate the dog.
Could be that too,
So
yeah.
they're just,
Trainers.
Lordy.
Let me ask you
Use
this, just getting into the legal side of if you get a nuisance barking call, and you go to the house, and do you sit and listen outside to see if it's no barking, you can't really do anything except say, hey, your neighbors are complaining. I know it's quiet now, but try and keep it in check. But do you ever, when you do that, do you ever ask to go inside to see the dogs or how the dog's kept or anything like that? Because a lot of animal control officers, I mean, legally they're not allowed. They don't have a search warrant. They can't come into the property.
Right.
But if you say, hey, could I come in, and they invite you, now you're in and you're looking at everything, and you may see more problems there than they even realized they had.
Right. And that's, like, a lot of the times what it is, because the dog, a lot of the complaints that come in are during the day. They're not
Right.
at night. So usually I'll call the person first, or I'll go to their house if they're home. If they're not, I'll leave a note for them to call me and just say, hey, we got this barking complaint come in. And most people are like, oh, my
Really?
dog doesn't bark. And I'm like, well, something must be happening because your neighbor's calling. And if in that case, most of the time I'll sit outside too and listen to see if I can hear the barking. But, like, sometimes people are like, oh my God, I had no idea. And then, or they'll be like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I leave the TV on for them and I'll talk to them afterwards and, like, give them tips on what they can do and stuff. Or even just recommend they getting a dog walker to at least wipe out their dog before they go in, like get them tired before they leave them for a
Could
couple
you
hours.
tell us what constitutes nuisance barking for everyone?
If a dog barks straight for 15 minutes or more in most
Wow.
towns.
That's friggin' obnoxious.
That is.
Yeah.
That
I
is
mean,
bad.
dogs bark. You know, dogs
And
are going
that's
to
not
bark
good
at
for a
stuff,
dog
but that
barking
doesn't
that
mean
long
it's
either.
a nuisance and all this stuff.
Right.
You know?
So
Is that
I've had,
non-stop for 15? If it stops for 2 minutes and then starts and goes for 5?
and no, it still counts. So
Okay,
if
good.
it's like
But dogs
barking
like
at
that.
something going by, it's different. So.
I know I've worked with people that have had dogs like that, and it sucks. I mean,
And the
these dogs
dogs are
just bark and
stressed. If
bark
they're
and bark.
actually barking for that sustained amount of time, they're just as stressed as the
Oh,
people
yeah,
listening.
even more.
In the last condo that I had before I sold it, right below me, they had a dog like that.
That's why you sold it, right?
Oh, yeah. No, they moved before I sold it. But they had a lab that would, at 6 in the morning on Saturdays, because they both worked on the weekends, 6 in the morning every day would just bark. And I was like, hey, just so you guys know, like, your dog barks a lot. No, he doesn't. I have a camera on him. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to start recording it and sending it to you at 6 in the morning then. So finally,
On Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. So, or whatever day you're sleeping in. So I wrote them up something. I was like, I'm really not trying to be rude, but I'm an animal control officer, and here are some tips that you can do. And then right after that, they started sending him to daycare, and I
Perfect.
could sleep in on the
Bada-ding,
weekend.
ba-boom.
Yeah,
Tom still couldn't walk in the place, but
I know.
how about hiking? Are you guys going hiking again? It's been winter, but is Winnie still up on the
she
peaks?
loves it. I need to walk her a little bit more to get her in shape again because
Oh,
we don't
she's
live
fat.
right next to Winnie Kinney anymore. But yeah, she's getting fatter.
Our
but
dogs
she
too.
loves it.
My
Yeah.
dog put on a couple of pounds, yeah.
No, it's mostly daddy's
We do
snacks.
the munchkin run on our way
Scott
to
likes
work.
to make pancakes about 3 times a week now, and he honestly makes a pancake per dog. So we had a little chat about pancakes and French toast only once a week, and we split one between
part
all
of
the
the
dogs.
family, you know.
We're flapjacks everywhere. All right, what's the best and worst part of your job as an animal control officer? How long have you been doing this now in the 2 towns?
Like 8 years.
Oh no, what year is it? 2021. 6 years. It'll be 6 years in August.
Okay. So
So-
what's the best part of what you do, and what's the worst part of what you do?
I mean, I like everything about it. I love being the animal control officer. During my last interview for the town I work in now, they were like, "What do you want to do long term?" And I was like,
This.
"This."
You're not
This is
stuck
what I
in
want
an
to do
office.
forever.
You're out moving
Yeah.
around, yeah.
So that's what's good about it too. Like, I'm the only one in my job, so I know how to do everything, and
Yeah.
I don't have somebody breathing down my neck, being like, "Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this?"
Yeah.
And I'm good at my job, and I don't leave things for like days on end before figuring them out, or at least talking to somebody. So the best part about my job is that I can do it however I want, whatever I want to do, and if I can't handle it. Like I have such an array of
just
contacts.
punch in and go home. And
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye.
And she does a damn good job. I know that because she's been our freaking employee and she's done our, not employee for the dog stuff, but she keeps all of our dogs alive when we go away and they're all very happy. And I even get photos. It's like the best of the best.
You know what I appreciate about you is that you have dog sense.
Oh,
and
my
that
God.
is not a given.
Yeah.
Just because you're a professional that works with dogs.
Yes.
Because so many vets and vet techs seem to have no dog sense.
Or
It's
animal control
crazy.
officers half the time, I'd say. It's not even a given that you're going to have that. I mean, some people are really good with like raccoons and all this stuff, and they don't know about dogs so well. So yeah, dog sense is important. And dog sense doesn't really mean all animal sense, but I guess in a way it does. Maybe not bird sense. Probably. So the worst part
I
of your
have bird sense too. Don't
No,
worry.
no, you had to get bird sense. It was forced bird sense. So the worst part is likely the assholes that are giving you a hard time.
Not even that though, because most people who
Pretty
are
decent.
but like most people who are mad at me or mean to me, they're doing it because they have a bad day. Like I had some lady really ream me out the other day because she didn't understand something, and I just let her go. Like let her have at it,
Yeah.
do whatever you gotta do. You had a bad day, whatever. I don't care. I didn't have a bad day, so after I get off the phone with her, it's just in the past, so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
You're very spiritually advanced, I think. Go ahead.
Well, and it's 2021. Sometimes you need a cathartic release, but don't take it out on the dog, the animal control officer.
But if they're on the phone too, you also can just like
Yeah.
go like this for a little bit
Distance,
and let them have it. So once they're done, you just kind of
they vented, they feel better.
yeah, and then at the
Then
end
they're
they're
more
always like,
reasonable.
"Oh, thank you so much." I'm like, "You're welcome." I didn't,
I'll
I didn't
send
do
my,
anything but
I'll
let
send
you
my
know,
fee.
but yeah.
All right. So what is the worst part of your job then? We don't even have one.
I don't think. I mean, bats.
my God.
Bats. There
I'm
it is.
bats.
Bats. They fly.
Absolutely.
They fly.
And they hang upside down.
Yep, and they fly at you. That's going into somebody's house to get a bat out is the worst. I've screamed quite a few times in people's houses. I
really?
usually go, just so you know, I'm going to go in here and shut the door, and if you hear screaming, don't come in.
It's just me.
It's just me.
Do you go to the bat house in like the zoo? That could maybe desensitize you.
No, I will never do that. I hate. They're so cute, and like if you see the big
Eh.
ones, and like doesn't Australia have like?
I was going to
giant
say,
bats?
do you need my number after this? You can call me. I'll come get the birds. I'll come get the bats. Like, none of that phases me.
She's going to be in the middle of the podcast. I
I'll be
got to
like-
go. Katie needs me.
Yep. I'll be out.
In Australia, the bats are like 30 pounds a
Yeah,
piece.
they have. Isn't there like
Yeah,
some
flying
type of,
fox. They're gorgeous. I've held one. Oh, my God.
But
they're
wait. Isn't there
beautiful.
one that like eats birds out there, like the vampire bat? Aren't they from Australia?
Well, they suck
I don't.
blood.
I feel like that might be a myth. But
I don't
they're
know.
amazing. It looks like a vampire movie at night. Up north, I used to live there, and at night they would all leave the mangroves and fly. And it is like a crazy vampire movie where the sky is blackened by bats. It's the coolest.
Next
Oh,
week-
it's beautiful.
next week
Now
you're gonna
she's
be up
not
here.
going to
I was
want to
gonna
go
say,
for the. Now she's not going to want to go for the Quinana walks or whatever. No, because the bats are going to scare her. Maybe it's a different part of Australia. Quokka, whatever.
They're
Sounds
cute.
like a quokka, you know what.
Oh my God. All right. Well, this was fun. We should have Katie
Yeah,
on
this
every
was
week.
nice.
Please, it'd be so fun.
I know.
like
And then we
this.
could bring our dogs. It could be like old home week.
Oh my
It'd be
God,
so much
please.
fun.
I'll have to bring Tom though. If that's the case, he'll have to sit over there and play with Sink the whole
Katie's boyfriend. We love him too.
He's
we
kind
have
of a giant, too.
He is.
He's
I
a
think
large man.
Jimmy probably doesn't like him so much because of that. But
Jimmy. Well, we just take Jimmy on vacation now, and they don't even come anymore because we moved to Maine. But now the horse, I can move up the horse time frame because now this is more intriguing to come up. What Katie really
long as I
wants,
can
and I
ride it.
think we're not doing this anymore, but we were going to move to St. John, and then when we would have to come back to
You're not doing
the
this
States,
anymore?
Well, it's a lot of rigmarole and money and hurricanes, and we still have a lot of animals. But when we were going to come back to the States, Katie was going to fly down there on vacation with Tom and watch our dogs down there. That was our plan. But I don't know, maybe give it a little bit of
I
time.
already told Tom we were doing that. So
We're still doing it.
Tell him about Maine and the
doing
horse
Yeah.
instead. We got new plans.
if he can ride it, he will 100% be down.
Okay, we
We
gotta
have to
get a tall
we gotta get a Clydesdale now.
All right, guys, have a great week. Pick up your dog's freaking poop and
Yes.
put your dog on a leash.
Keep
and
your
if
dog
you
on a
have a
leash.
retractable, throw it out. But if you use one, 6-foot, lock it. Keep it quirky.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.